boys. Yeah, what's up, nerds? It's your boy, the OGGM, coming to you live or undead from a small island off the coast of Costa Rica here on the 18th day of September in the year of our Lord Steve the Cat, 2023. It's about 8:53 and sunny. So it looks like we're going to have a lovely spring morning for those of you who get a chance to go outside this Monday. For me, it's Monday, which means it's time to set sail across the choppy waters of the tabletop role-playing game community and take a look at the stories that are going to affect us for the rest of the week. What nonsense will our favorite creators will be up to? I don't know. It's nothing else is an excuse for me to use the word sextent in a sentence. So let us take out our compasses, chart our courses, plot our path using our sextents. See, I said it. And take a look at all the tabletop role-playing game news stories for the beginning of the week. And number one is Wizkids. Yeah, Wizkids. Toys. I told you this was all lead to toys somehow. Everything always leads to toys. I love me some toys and stickers. We got a whole bunch of new stuff coming from Wizkids. Wizkids has announced their next chunk of stuff coming out for the remainder of the year. Obviously, we have their usual, here's a bunch of stuff that is vaguely related to tabletop role-playing game of choice. This one is called the Classic Monster Collection, K through N. This set features a smattering of monsters, starting with the letter K and ending with the letter N. It's $90, and it is, yeah, we got a lich, very confused-looking merman, kobold, lizardman, blue, meanie, mind flayer. That mummy is really cool looking. Minotaur, pretty cool. I've seen better, but that one's pretty cool. The axe does not seem right for his body size. And then we've got this poor little Naga here. And look at that facial that they went for this guy. He just looks really like, what? Is he supposed to look scary? Or is he supposed to look like, well, I'm a Naga and I'm a container of secrets of the wisdoms of the, vast ancient empires that I have stood guard over for all these years. But instead he just has this like, oh my God. That's just an unusual choice for a face. Same with this merman here. That dude just looked like, whoa, hello, what are you doing in my house? Yeah, unusual choice. I'm not sure about these two. The rest look fine. The kobold looks really good. The mummy is probably the best. Moving on, we have got buddies. Just in time for Planescape, we have a collection of vaguely connected planescapey type monsters, and this one is going to be $50, and these are going to be blind boxes. Here's an example of one of these. So each basic set will feature 47 figures. The one large, 3 medium will be $20. The big boxes will range from $50 to $50 for the ones of all the characters, to the limited edition box set of all of them all together for $50. So weird. I'm not sure what they're talking about here. But anyways, if you want to pick up 1, 2, 3, 4, these 5, I guess they come in the $50 collection. So we've got this mind flayer type looking dude here. We've got a space centaur. We've got this bear with a scroll. Isn't he a magic card? We've got a Morden. You remember the Mordens? They were just a weird idea. And then we've got a space elf with a wispy, spacey blade, looking all Drizzt Elric type thing. And this strangely, remember these? This was like, well, we've done evil, we've done good. We've done chaotic evil. We've done chaotic good. We really haven't done anything for neutral. So we need something that represents neutrality, because we need to fill out another book of monsters. And they're like, okay, well, we need neutral monsters that control the neutral planes. And we're going to base them on shapes, right? Because nothing says neutral like squares and triangles. So they made a bunch of monsters called the Moradons, and they were based upon shapes. And occasionally they reappear, and you kind of just look at them and go, oh, man, I just sort of feel bad for him. And then there's this dude. This is the Time Dragon. Apparently he is an icon on the realm, even though I've never heard of a Time Dragon before, but apparently it's a thing. And if you didn't know he was the Time Dragon, you could tell by the fact that he's standing on an hourglass. And this fella is $100, and he'll be out sometime next year. And then once again, we have this thing. They do one of these every couple now and then. It is a dragon head. This is a life-size dragon head. It's a green dragon plaque. It's foam latex sculpture, which will be available for $500. Life-size. I don't know what life-size is in relations to a dragon. So we're talking like, Great Dane size? We're talking like this is the size of a human head? What is the life size for a green dragon? Isn't it supposed to be like colossally huge? Like the head of a dragon is supposed to be like a house, basically, if we're using real life comparison. Big enough to gobble up a horse in one bite. So how big is this? And is this something you really want to spend $500 on to hang on your wall? Because I can think of 100 things I would rather have for $500. But I guess if you're like Joe Manogio or some other gamer who's, I've bought everything. What's left for me to buy for D&D? Oh, a green dragon head. I put that right next to my creepy life-size Drizzt doll they made a few years ago. And then speaking of creepy lightweight, we've got the Red Dragon Wormling foam figure for the 50th anniversary. It's a lightweight and hand-painted life-size figure standing about 2.5 feet tall and looking dangerously cute, just in time to celebrate the 50th edition of the game for $700. $700. I've seen lawn gnomes, the exact same thing at like the gardening store for like $30, except it's not made from foam. But still, yeah, $700 for this cute little whippersnapper. And then we've got the characters from Xandria Unlimited. Remember the Xandria Unlimited they did during one of the Critical Role breaks? Well, these are the characters that the individual players involved played. One of them has a wrench, so I guess she was a crafter of some type. So they have wonderful names like Sarit Agpunen, Laren Cormir Silly, Lacutus Silly, Nadas Ocario Lacutus Borg. That was Jean-Luc Picard's name when he got Borgified. Pascia Poco, and Xerex Ilrizra. Doesn't anybody in the Critical Role world have normal names like Steve, June, Fred, Gloria? Anyways, here's a collection of the figures based upon the characters that were played in that for $50. I like this mummy. Everything else just kind of looks bleh. But those will be available going into Christmas and then the starting of the next year. So if you're a figure person, yay, free toys. All right, what's going on in the world of normal tabletop role-playing game news? Anything that we need to worry about? Let's take a look, shall we? All right, well, Level Up 5e released the Kickstarter for their Level Up 5e introductory box set. If you've ever been curious about Level Up 5e, they have released a starter set, so you can dip your toes into it. And it's like $30 if you just want the digital stuff, and $50 if you want the actual thing that comes with pre-generated characters, maps, all sorts of other things. We took a look at a Level Up 5e example character the other day, and we noticed that the stats and skills bonuses are a plus D4 instead of a plus 1, which begs the question, if I rolled a D20 and a D4 and the D20 comes up natural 1, does the D4 still count? Because then it would be impossible to roll a fumble using that rule, because you're rolling 2 dice, which means bare minimum you're rolling a 2, and that's before adding any bonuses, right? So if I just roll that 1 on the D20, that just still is an automatic fail, or if it isn't, then you never fail with the plus 1 D4. Now, I kind of like the plus 1 D4 stat bonus instead of just using the stat bonus, but then you have to, I question, well, is that also, acrobatics, plus 1 D4, plus my plus 4 for my 18 agility, plus, because then, yeah, anyways, that's available if you want to pick it up. The new playtest packet is out from Wizards of the Coast for Unearthed Arcanas number 7. We've already spoken about that. Full of new rule changes that are causing controversy, even from the 5e. It's interesting, again, regarding that story, that the people who complain the most weren't people like me. It was the 5e people, the actual players of 5th edition, who, when they watched Jeremy Crawford's interview and read the responses and looked at the thing, they're like, well, this is pointless. This is not a new rule book. This is an errata. And I'm not going to pay $150 for this. It's like 20 pages. And just because, we can't leave well enough alone, they're also going to be playtesting changing to the rules of death and resurrection, apparently, in playtest number 8. Yeah, I'm the first one to probably mention that to you. Foundelver, the Shattered Obelisk, of course, is out. We were really expecting a lot from this, and it proceeded to mostly disappoint. First, because of adding safety tools, which by now you would think the adventure is about body horror, that you would sort of go without saying that horrible things might happen to your characters in this adventure. Are you sure you want to go through it? But nope, it has safety tools. And the main complaint wasn't that it had safety tools. It was where they placed the safety tools, which is interesting. Not that they had them. It's that they were kind of not sort of scattered through the book. And for some reason, some people didn't like the fact that they presented them that way. Now, the trouble with the safety tools argument, it is a strange game that no one can win. If you're pro safety tools, everybody on the anti-safety tool side thinks you're a horrible human being. If you're anti-safety tools, everybody on the pro-safety tools side thinks you're a horrible human being. Now, if you go into an argument where both sides thinks the person on the other side is just, needs to suffer a painful death, then there's no way to come to a understanding and agreement on, well, I see your point of view, blah, blah, blah. So sadly, this is an argument that still will never be resolved. But yes, there are safety tools in Minds the Foundelver. Now, after 14 years, we thought we would finally get a solution to the mystery of the obelisk. But apparently, from what I've read and been told, it kind of just says, yeah, it was Mind Flayers. Strangely enough, Mind Flayers also being the main bad guys in the first act of Baldur's Gate 3. I wonder why at the last second they chose to make the Lovecraftian horror monsters Mind Flayers. A monster that pretty much hasn't shown up in the past 14 years, other than in like Planescape-related stuff in D&D. But now suddenly we've hinted at it being Vecna. We've hinted that there's some huge cosmic doom associated with these obelisks. We kind of explored it in Tomb of Annihilation. We were supposed to explore it in Rime of the Frost Maiden, but we didn't. But after 14 years, we're finally going to say that the secret power behind the obelisk, Mind Flayers. Because, that's our token Lovecraftian monster that we can toss out whenever we need to introduce cosmic horror, as opposed to, Jubilex, who is your really token arcane horror. And the fact that for the past 14 years, everybody who has ever even read anything about the obelisk has been like, yeah, this is all leading up to Vecna, right? You've hinted for the past 14 years that Vecna is going to be the main bad guy. You've hinted that the main bad guy going into 2024 D&D is Vecna. We were all like, okay, finally, Vecna, right? No, it wasn't. Pathfinder 2nd Edition has released a source book for the Lost Omens High Helm setting. This one covering the dwarven culture of Glorian. They are really, really focusing a lot of energy on this Lost Omens High Helm going into the beginning of their reconstruction. Because as we know, Pathfinder 2nd Edition Remastered Core 2 Electric Boogaloo is coming out, and they're going to be doing a follow-up Lost Omens Mega Adventure Path, basically called Wrath of the Gods, Wrath of the Immortals, War of the Immortals. It's their take on the classic Time of Troubles, and using that as an explanation for why, poof, suddenly everything changed. Anything we had connected to the OGL/Wizards of the Coast, gone, including Drow Elves. Even though, I'm sorry, Paizo, you didn't have to remove Drow Elves because Wizards of the Coast doesn't own that word. They don't own the word Drow Elf. They don't even own the specific depictation that they use for Drow Elves. Nope, that comes from cultural mythology. So Dark Elves and all that, no. They don't own that. So you could have used Drow Elves, but you chose not to. You're choosing to separate any connection that Pathfinder 2 2nd Edition Remastered Core Electric Boogaloo with Bacon has to the OGL. Now, as for what that means, we're not sure. Obviously, it looks like some spells might get their names changed. Some classes might get their names changed. Obviously, something to do with the divine is going to happen. So any gods that vaguely resemble OGL/Wizards of the Coast gods, like our boy Tyr, who seems to show up in every mythology of every published game, well, they might say, well, Tyr doesn't exist in Glorian anymore because it's an OGL Wizards of the Coast god. And then, of course, anybody with a modicum of sense will go, no, actually, Wizards of the Coast doesn't own Tyr because Tyr is an actual Norse god. And unless Hasbro bought Norse mythology and we didn't know about it, you could use Tyr. It's fine. So we don't know what to expect from their remaster other than there's a chance for them to, sell us some new stuff. And speaking of new stuff, there's a Highlander role-playing game coming out. Again, because it looks like they've licensed Highlander. I believe the people who made Everyday Heroes have the license to the Highlander. Now, the trouble with Highlander is there can be only one, right? So either one guy gets to be the Highlander and everybody else is the Highlander support staff, or everybody's a Highlander and they spend at least one session out of every 5 trying to kill each other because there can be only one. Paizo has released the Gallows Spire Survival top-down bullet hell game. We took a look at it last week. I asked if you guys wanted to see me play it. So far, nobody has responded. So, yeah, if this is your thing, if you've played Vampire Survivors and you enjoyed it, well, now there's a Pathfinder-themed one. And, we've got the Wizkids sale, which we already talked about. And that's about it. So, hey, so far Monday, and no really bizarre news from Wizards of the Coast, except, of course, that now Mackenzie d'Arms is going around having little talks at the tournament/conventions she goes to, basically, where she and a panel of 2 or 3 other of her co-conspirators tell you how they're the best DMs in the world for about an hour. And as we discussed on Friday, anybody who claims they're the best DM in the world probably isn't. Anybody who needs to tell you how many decades and decades of experience they've had that makes them such a great DM probably isn't. I, on the other hand, am a mediocre idiot. So, yeah, hopefully you appreciate this week's news. If you do, let me know. If you don't, let me know. And we'll get back to you guys later. Until then, have a great day. Looks like the fog is rolling in. So, spooky, 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 spooky.